Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Soap Scoop. First up, we have the lovely Matthew Morrison, who played Felix Baker and Tara Misu in EastEnders. He joins Chloe now, and then you can come back to us for more chat.
Hi Matthew, welcome to Soap Scoop, the Inside Soap podcast. It's absolutely lovely to have you on with us today. How are you doing?
Thank you for having me. Yeah, I'm doing well, thank you. Yeah, I'm doing well.
So you are in a play at the moment at the Greenwich Theatre, Blue Orange. Tell us all about it. What's it about?
Oh, it's a play about race, mental health, ethics, power dynamics, and I guess what it is to be sectioned for 28 days. The story follows Christopher, who's a 24-year-old black man who's been sectioned for 28 days, and it's his day of release. Well, it follows him 24 hours before his release, and his doctor thinks that he should remain there for another 28 days. And there's a consultant who thinks that he should be released, and it's about their power dynamics and the struggle and the fight between them and over their opinions. And Christopher's kind of caught up in the middle of it all.
Yeah, and this play is the 25th anniversary revival, but there's still a lot of kind of themes that are relevant to today. Is that one of the reasons why you were really keen to take on this role?
Yeah, I had no idea about the play before, but a lot of friends had seen it. And after I read it, I was like, wow, this is a piece and a half. It's very dense. It's topical. It's shocking just how relevant it still is today as it was 25 years ago.
Yeah. And I was reading online and I was actually surprised to see that the first ever person to play your character was Chiwetel Ejiofor. So what an amazing legacy to be part of as well.
Yeah. I thank God I didn't watch it back then because it might have like even been like, oh, I must be like this. But yeah, a string of really, really good actors have played it over the years.
Mm. And for those people who are probably more used to seeing you in the role of Felix, it's a very different character, probably I guess a more serious role to play. Has it been a challenge to take that on?
I think anyone would be lying if they said that Christopher wasn't a challenge to play. It is a massive departure from Felix. And I kind of like that. I was kind of worried that I might be pigeonholed into a certain type of character. So for this to be my first job out of EastEnders, it's a blessing. Because he is worlds away from Christopher. But then, life is weird, and Felix could very well end up somewhere like that. But yeah, it's a massive departure from Felix, but it's been a journey, and the journey's still undergoing. Like, I'm still finding things in Christopher that I didn't think I would find. Each night we do it, it's slightly different, and I guess that is the joy of theatre, really.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got to talk about Felix. Obviously, he was such a groundbreaking character for EastEnders. Can you remember kind of casting your mind back for a few years now? Can you remember how they kind of pitched him to you and what the character was going to be like when you first joined?
Oh, pretty much how he is, kind of like a fearless, proud, gay black man who does drag, is not afraid to say or speak his mind. And is quite loud and he's a presence in a room. Like you will notice him if he walks into a room. I think that's the general vibe of Felix.
Mm, mm. And again, like because of his vibrancy as a character, and I don't know whether you feel like you have many similarities towards Felix, or whether you feel like you're quite different as a person.
Quite different. I'm a lot quieter than Felix. I think Felix is definitely an extrovert and I'm more of an introvert. I will sit at home and watch anime and listen to podcasts and go on walks. And I think Felix, everything about him is like from down to what he wears to what he says. It's very much out there. We're different in some ways, but I think Felix could learn some things from me, and I think I could definitely learn some things from Felix.
Mm. Yeah, the clothes thing I have to pick up on because you had some amazing outfits, not just as Felix but as Tara as well. Were there any that you were thinking, I would never wear this in real life, but actually I'm loving wearing this on TV?
One of my favorite things that Felix wore as Tara Misu was his final outfit. Um, and Zoe Styles, one of the makeup artists who mostly does Tara Misu's makeup, came up with the idea because we sit for hours in that makeup chair, and she knows that I love Beyonce. And at that moment we were filming it, Beyonce was currently doing her Cowboy Carter world tour, and she was like, "How about we do Cowboy Carter?" And so the last thing that you see Felix wearing is a homage to Beyonce wearing a Cowboy Carter inspired outfit. And that
Mm.
I wouldn't wear myself personally, but I thought that was great.
Yeah, I mean, what a way to go dressed as Beyonce, basically.
Yeah, essentially.
We loved Felix in the Albert, like great kind of environment for him. I mean, particularly towards the end when Cindy took over. One of the episodes that stands out for me was him in his funeral attire as Tara, and doing all that brilliant stuff. Did you enjoy kind of having that job in the show?
Yeah, it's nice to be in an iconic place and a place where someone like Felix belongs. Yeah, I enjoyed having that job in the Albert. It's really nice. Yeah, yeah.
If there was another job that, if even going, wild, what would you have liked Felix to have done if he hadn't worked in the Albert?
Ooh. I think it would have been nice for him to have worked with I was gonna say the real names then, but Denise and Kim in the hairdressing shop. I think
Yeah.
Felix would have been really good at that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Felix and Kim, brilliant duo.
yeah.
So I feel like if they had worked together, though, it could have just been a nightmare.
They'd be falling out and making up and being best friends and falling out and making up and having a cat fight.
Yeah,
Yeah, it would have been also I do think that Felix might have been great in the laundrette, but like, mixing all the white clothes with the dark clothes and putting towels in with fabric conditioner and doing all the stuff you shouldn't do. Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. Chaos ensues. I think if he'd worked in the salon and I'd been a customer, I would have been like, no, give me Denise, give me someone who's not gonna have an argument while they're dyeing my hair. Thank you.
Yeah.
When you left, were you able to take? I know often the cast get like a signed Albert Square sign, but were you able to take any kind of souvenirs or costume or anything with you when you left?
Yes, I took quite a few pieces of costume with me actually. I've got it right here. On my cast card, I'm wearing this jacket and I got to take this with me. Um,
Oh, amazing! I love that.
I don't know when I'll ever wear it, but it's not a piece of me, but I really like it. And when Felix first came with his brother Finley, played by Ashley Byam, they worked on a Caribbean food stall, and I still have their apron from there as well, and a few bits
Oh,
and bobs and things like that.
I feel like that would make a really good red carpet outfit. So you never know.
Yeah, yeah, you never know.
Maybe not a casual Sunday going for a walk jacket. Felix would have done it, but maybe
Yeah,
not Matthew.
yeah.
Do you have any particular kind of storyline or even scene that sticks out in your mind from your time at EastEnders that was like particularly memorable to film or really fun to film?
Last block of filming with Claire Norris, who plays Bernie, and Charlotte Conquest was the director. We Charlotte took us aside and was like, "I'm so privileged to do your guys' leaving thing. Like, I'm going to make this all about you. We're going to do everything at our own pace." And she really took her time with us, and it was a lovely experience. And me and Claire really enjoyed working on that. And there was some quite emotional scenes that was just like, it felt so nice to be doing, like some meaty stuff to sink our teeth into.
Mm.
Um, and they were really good to film. But I just had there's so many things over the years when I think about it. I'm like, that was so much fun. I remember doing the I think it was either the coronation or something with Tamika who plays Kim. I was in drag and we were singing a song on stage and we're bumping into each other. And then one time we did Snow White for Panto with Tamika as well. And then of course there's a scene where I'm shouting at Uncle Mitch and I think Harvey for being and Lorraine Stanley for something about Zach when he was diagnosed with HIV,
Yeah.
ignorant about it, and that was I wouldn't say enjoyable to do, but I think that was an important to do, and it felt like that was a good sticking point for Felix. But there's loads. I forget about them, and then I'm reminded of them, and I'm like, wow, like I've done this and that and that and this, and it's like, yeah, yeah. Even like arriving and coming out of the car with my brother, and then Sonia shouts out the window, "Keep down the noise" or something. I'm like, the sun's been up for hours, love, and she calls me a cheeky pig or something like that. It's all there. It doesn't seem real. I
Mm.
never thought it was real, and now that I've gone, it's like Matthew, you should have thought it was real because it's finished now. Um, but yeah,
I guess it's one of those things where when you're there day after day, it all blurs into one a little bit. It's only when you leave and you can look back on it and go, "Oh, I did all these amazing things," and at the time, it just feels a bit surreal, doesn't it?
yeah, very surreal, very very surreal. That's the great way to describe it.
And near the end, there was a kind of storyline between Felix and Johnny getting together. They were quite, I guess, a sort of mishmash pairing. What did you think of them together? Did you think that they could have maybe gone the distance if Felix didn't leave?
I think they could maybe have gone the distance if his mother didn't kill my cousin. Um,
Yeah,
but
that is a slight problem, isn't it?
that is a slight problem. But maybe they could have. I really enjoy working with Charlie. He's such a giving actor and such a lovely boy, and everyone you can tell when because I didn't work with him a lot when he first started, but one of the first things that I noticed is that everyone was very chatty with him and very nice to him, and he was so nice. And I think because he's such a nice person to be around, so it was great working with him. So I would have liked it to have worked out.
Yeah.
I think they could have been a really nice couple. Felix a bit, sort of like, oh, let's buy this, let's do that, and him be more like, we need to actually like pay the bills. So let's be more, let's think about things a bit. Let's put money in an ISA and maybe invest in the S&P 500 when Felix is like, I want to buy this. Um,
Yeah.
so I think it would have been nice to see the dynamics in that two opposite people who were
Mm.
very different in their own ways. Because he's more of a like, yes, he's gay, but that's not his identity. And I think for Felix, it is quite his identity. And both of those worlds are fine. And it would be nice to see that. So I think they could have worked well. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I think their kind of getting together was really nice, and especially because it was like they just weren't communicating very well. They both wanted to be together, but Felix was sort of still wanted to be a bit of a party boy,
Mm.
and Johnny wanting to settle down. I think it was a really nice dynamic. But like you say, the kind of his mother killing your cousin, bit awkward, but it is EastEnders. Those things are not impossible to get past.
That's very true. That is very, very true.
Obviously you got to share your exit with Claire, and there were, like you say, really gorgeous scenes and really emotional as well. Do you keep in touch with anyone else from the cast? Obviously, I know you were close with Claire as well.
Yeah, I keep in touch with quite a few people. I keep in touch with Claire, Tamika, Ashley Byam, who played my brother, Johnny Freeman, who played Reese. We live quite close to each other, and so we go for drinks quite frequently. Yeah, there's loads. Aaliyah came to watch me in the play the other day, which was lovely, along with Chris as well. Yeah, there's loads of people. Like it's not a there's lots of people in EastEnders that I keep in contact with quite frequently. Frankie as well, who plays Gina. Um, and some people I don't text like every week or every day, but when I see them, it's still great. Because we all lead, sorry, busy lives. And we're all doing different things and we're actors, and so there's no ever sort of like uniform. We're working 9 to 5, we'll meet at 6 or something. We're all sort of running around the world. Um, but yeah, even the ones that I haven't spoken to like in a long time, like the love is still there. And I'm sure we'll bump into each other again and it'll be fine. But
Yeah.
yeah, there are some that I'm quite a lot more close to, and we put more effort into it. Um, yeah, and that's nice.
Yeah. Is there anyone that you were kind of friends with offset, but you never really got to spend any time with on screen that you would have liked Felix to bump into a bit more?
Ooh, I guess Johnny Freeman. Um, because our characters hardly ever interacted, but because we live close to each other, we sort of got to talking on the commute to work and then became friends. But I think I only ever had like one or two lines with him, and that was like
Yeah.
serving him a drink or something like that. Um, yeah. And it'd been nice.
Yeah.
Those characters are quite different as well, so it'd been nice to play off that. Would have been lovely.
Yeah, I'm trying to imagine how Felix and Reese interaction or scene would have gone. It's quite an unusual pairing, like you say.
Yeah, I think it would have been a lot of side eyes from Felix being like, "Is this guy for real?" or something like that.
Yeah, yeah. There's definitely would have liked Felix maybe to have worked out that Reese was a wrong one.
Yeah, that would have been good. That would have been good.
Um, Are you pleased that the door was left open for Felix? In potential for him to come back at any point. And would you, if you were asked, would you like to go back to the square?
Yeah, I'm glad that he wasn't killed off. And it's always nice to keep the door open. And it has been the privilege of my life to play that role. But yeah, I would always consider going back. It's a lovely place. It's like a big family. Um, and it's nice. It's a show that I grew up loving and watching, and my auntie Sharon got me into it, and our whole family into it watching. At first, we're like, "This is rubbish," and the next minute, we're like, "What did Kat just say to Alfie? Alfie, Nana Moon, no!" Um, so yeah, I would never not think about not going there. It's a gorgeous place, and it will forever hold a place in my heart. And if they ever were to ask me to come back again, I don't know how they would do it, but yeah, I would seriously consider it.
There is always a way. We would love to see Felix back. We'd love to have you back in the Albert. I think the Albert's missing you at the moment. I know we are. But Matthew, please tell us where we can get tickets for your play.
You can get tickets at Greenwich Theatre if you Google Greenwich Theatre, and the play is called Blue Orange. It's on until the 25th of October, and I would really highly recommend it. It's heavy, but it's also, I would say, it's a dark comedy as well. There are moments where you will be laughing. But I think it's because it's theatre, it's something that doesn't stay around forever. And so I would say if you can, and I know it's Greenwich, and not everyone lives near Greenwich, but it's not that hard to get to. You can take the Thames link from St Pancras, and it's 30 minutes to Greenwich, or you can take the DLR from Bank, 20 minutes to Greenwich. It's really, really, I thought Greenwich, I live in North London. I was like, I can't make it all the way to Greenwich. It's not that bad at all. It's not that bad.
Well, brilliant, Matthew. Thank you so much, and good luck with the rest of the play. It's been lovely to chat to you today.
Thank you. Likewise, Chloe.
Chloe, he seems lovely, Matthew. Did you have a lovely chat?
That was so nice. Do you know what? I really feel like I'm missing Felix now. I've spoken to Matthew. Like, he was such a great presence in the Albert, and I feel like my campaign to get Felix back in EastEnders starts now, really.
Lovely. Well, yes, best of luck to him in his play. And yep, we'll look forward to hopefully seeing him on our screens again soon. So this week's chat, I feel like it was a big week for us last week because we had our Swala chat that made it into the print mag. The only thing I really feel compelled to say is simply thank you, Ali and Vicky, for being so gracious with the 5 nanoseconds of time that you had in between filming the busiest filming block of your lives. It's no secret that Corrie and Emmerdale are filming the crossover, and the press team and the production that helped make that happen for us. That was nothing short of heroics, trying to navigate those schedules and get Ali and Vicky when they did for the interview and for the picture. I mean, you can see obviously that they were sort of coming off set, the other one arriving, and the same goes for Jack P. Shepherd and Amelia Flanagan, who are in the same boat navigating those logistics that we were up against. So I just wanted to say thank you to you both, and to be able to celebrate your best partnership win with you was really, really special. Thank you very much. And yeah, what else we got going on this week, Chloe, that we can talk about?
I know you went to set of Corrie last week, and there was, I believe, a pink Christmas tree. It's all changed. I need to know everything. Please tell us what's going on in the Rovers.
Yes, absolutely. In the magazine that's coming out today, we preview Eva's return to Coronation Street, and that is why I was on set just the other week. They invited us up, the press team. We did interviews with all the cast. So Eva and her family She kind of arrives back in Weatherfield, and it's a real surprise because Ben has secretly bought the Rovers for her. This is this mysterious Ben that you keep hearing Carla saying, I've sold the Rovers, and now someone else is in charge. And it turns out to be Eva. And she turns up. And what I will say about this, it's not deliberately meant to be like the dawn of a new era, or should I say Eva? But I've seen the episode in full, and it does feel like a bit of a very soft reboot for Corrie. There's a new energy about it. When they take over the pub, there's loads kicking off between Toya and Leanne, which Eva has to kind of play negotiator with and sort the pair of them out because they're arguing over Nick Tilsley still. But there's all that going on. But then once she gets behind the bar, it's basically just a big party and there's a locking. You get a bit of a shock because her mother-in-law turns up, Maggie, played by Pauline McGlynn, who of course used to be in EastEnders. So that was really great, reminding us of that. And yeah, it feels great. It feels like classic Corrie, great energy. And I was on the set and the Rovers was dressed for Christmas. So Eva's got a pink Christmas tree. She's even updated the back room. So there's a pink sofa. Yeah, sorry, I could talk about this for ages, but it was really fun because they do look after us at Corrie, and it's not just journalists, it's influencers as well. So there's a really nice mix of people doing different things, and people were wandering in and out of the sets. And kind of the best thing for me actually was being in the road where the Rovers set is. You only need to walk round a corner, and that's where the police set is. So there is actually a picture of me sat, I'm not sure if it's Lisa's or Kit's desk, but I've got some files in my hand, the files that Lisa couldn't get into and all that time. And there's also a picture of John Sugden on the wall as well, because he apparently still hasn't been caught in Emmerdale. So just a little teaser there that's still rumbling on and they're still filming it. So yeah, it was really, really good. And yeah, I think everybody's really going to love this stuff with Eva. So definitely tune in for it.
Yeah, it honestly sounds amazing. I've seen lots of photos from people who went, very jealous, but also I love the kind of aftermath of these press events where you get all the gossip about what's coming. We've got a Todd and Theo special. We've got obviously the Corriedale stuff. I cannot wait. I'm always like, what's next? So yeah, I'm so very excited.
Yeah, Kate Brooks was there, of course, giving us a bit of a teaser, and she was telling us about, I'm actually really looking forward to Debbie and Ronnie's Christmas wedding. I'm so invested in.
Yeah, I'm so invested in Debbie and Ronnie, and I never thought I would be, because they were just one of those couples that were there. And then when Debbie broke up with him and they had that whole thing of she wouldn't tell him about the dementia, I just became so invested in them now.
Yeah, me too. And I think like back when they announced the dementia storyline, of course, people were sort of in uproar because, oh, you can't do this to a comedy character that was Debbie. But I think, these sacrifices need to be made sometimes to make a story worth telling, or at least hit the notes that they want to with people. So I think, yeah, I'm really invested in that. Yeah, really. I mean, the Theo and Todd stuff sounds like it's going to be really dark. We should talk about Emmerdale, and the fact that it's all going to start getting a bit tasty between Aaron, Kev, Robert. What are your thoughts?
I have just this minute finished watching the whole of this week's Emmerdale that you will be watching this week on screen, which is Aaron finding out about Rob and Kev. Not that I hide this at all. Massive Robert fan and massive Robert fan. And I have said online that I'm not a lover of this storyline for obvious reasons, but I actually think this week has changed my mind a little bit. I'm more on board now because I feel like things are a lot clearer, and it feels like there's a lot more kind of conversations this week which kind of make feelings and everything clear, which I'm a big fan of. I'm not a big fan of Robert lying and keeping secrets from Aaron, because I think we've seen that, we've done that, and I just kind of want some new stuff for the two of them. I think there was an announcement obviously of the Robert kind of prison special that's coming up, which I think will be really interesting, because I think we've had them on screen for a long time. Obviously we've had a big gap, but I think, me speaking as a big fan, I want to see some new dynamics, really. I don't just want to see the same kind of Robert messes up, Aaron kicks him out, and they have a big fight, and then they make up again. I kind of want to see some different stuff between them. And so this week gave me a bit more faith that we might be going down that direction, hopefully.
What are you making of this dynamic between Robert and Kev? Because they're kind of coming out and saying in interviews that, you know, there is genuine feelings and connections there. Whereas initially when I watched it, Robert's just been a bit wily in prison, and he has obviously got on Kev's good side for the protection, and he knows there's money and Kev being ill and stuff like that. So he really is just using him until he can get what he wants. But in the interviews, they've been saying that there are feelings there. And I appreciate asking you, a Rob runner, your take on this. You're obviously going to give me but I'd like you to give me a measured answer.
No, okay. I'll give you I'm just a casual fan. I don't really care. I'll just give you that answer. Okay. No, I can't do that. I can't fake it. This is why, okay, we love our job, because we are so invested to the point of we are those super, super invested fans. So having watched this week, as I said, I feel like this week it becomes really clear kind of where the lines are. That's all I'll say. It is complicated, but I think what you have to remember is Robert didn't think he was getting out. Robert thought he was in there for 14 years. But I don't think, if you are like me and you are very heavily invested in the no one else comes close to Aaron version of Robert that we've always seen, I don't think you will come away from this week worried by what you see. I think it is complicated with Kev, but there's a lot of layers to it. The money thing is still a thing. I think if Kev was hard up, maybe he probably wouldn't be that bothered. I also think the fact Kev's dying is quite a big thing. And I think, actually, would we really want Robert to just be a heartless, you know, piece of work and just go, you know, oh, he's dying, I don't really care, and I'll bin him off? I think it's better for the character if he has a bit more humanity. But I think as a big fan, this week helped me feel like, okay, I feel happier now with where things are going. So I hope that reassures anyone out there that's having a bit of a wobble, because I was having a wobble too. So we're in this together.
See, I like Robert's naughty side. Like, it reminds me.
I don't get me wrong, I love his naughty side. I just don't like it when he hurts Aaron, because I feel like Aaron's such a soft, underneath the kind of hard shell, he's a soft character. He's been through awful stuff, and actually coming up next week, he finds out that Robert has told Kev about Gordon, which to me, I was like, that is really awful. That's big betrayal. I'll be interested to see how that comes across on screen, because my heart of hearts was like, I don't buy that. Because
I think it's got some nerve.
Yeah, I think that's such a huge deal to tell someone like Kev. So the naughtiness, fine. The scheming, fine. The lying, not so fine. So I like a balance, but he's got to put Aaron first. That's my.
Well, we hurt the ones we love, Chloe. I think I learnt that watching Buffy the Vampire Slayer, which is gospel. So if anyone hasn't watched Buffy ever in your life, just get on it now.
Those people, I hate to say. No, I'm too busy watching soaps, LJ. For goodness sake.
Me too, Chloe, but I found time for Sarah Michelle Gellar. Seriously, oh my God, me and Chloe have got so much in common, but to find out that she's not watched Buffy is
betrayal.
Beyond.
Talking of betrayal, that's betrayal. Me never watching Buffy.
I think you'd love it as well. It's a bit of you.
I think I would enjoy it, actually, and it's one of those shows where you're like, oh, I really missed the boat there, but and now I don't have time because I'll have to watch so many soaps.
God, I always thought, right, I better move on, because otherwise this would be a Buffy the Vampire Slayer podcast, which I'll happily do one day if there's an appetite for it, honestly. And a long time wanting to be her. Yes, okay, brilliant. Yes, so Emmerdale, Aaron and Robert have just got rid of one psycho husband, only to be given another one.
I know. That's what I mean. I'm like, can we just have a pause on the third wheels? Like, just let them get on with things on their own for a bit, and then throw some more drama in. I'm just kind of over the whole third wheel thing, but I think maybe this will be a little bit different. So that's what I'm hoping for anyway.
Well, we've got these special episodes coming up, which sound really exciting. The show's on absolute fire. And yeah, just being up at Corrie the other day and there being they were saying very tight-lipped about the crossover, but
I'm really sad that we don't know more, because I'm just itching to know more. Like, I can't wait to find out what's going to happen. And I have my own suspicions of who's going to be involved, but I can't wait to see if I'm right. I can't wait to see kind of who's going to interact with who. It's the soap lover's dream. Like, it's probably going to be a bit mad, but I'm just very excited.
We popped a joke in the magazine recently on the back page, Hits and Misses, if Emmerdale and EastEnders would consider a crossover called Easterdale. You could have Celia with her drugs network, which is like Ravi and Oki, and it was really funny because we just had this picture of her in her, not that the drug storyline is funny, it's pretty dark, but she had her shades on and she was giving big villain vibes, and the two of them were just in the background leaning over some Walford railings, and it was like, yeah, this is the next one that needs to happen. I'm for it.
I hope that gives them the idea. So speaking of EastEnders, what a week last week with the whole Joel aftermath and the police, breaking into him in the garage. I always watch pretty much at 6 or 7 a.m. anyway, but I was on iPlayer ready and waiting to watch because I was so gripped by this. I thought it was excellent.
Yeah, I think they've done such a great job with this storyline. I mean, that stuff with Vicky and the attack was so brutal. But it's proper chuck your telly out of the window stuff, because obviously it's taken a lot for Ross to accept what is really, really going on, to the point where him and Vicky are in such a bad place. But she's covered in bruises. I think you are just sort of like wanting to jump into TV. I mean, he has taken action. He has got to a moment where he's taken Joel by the collar and gone, stop it.
One of the things that I'd actually totally forgotten about was the Ivani sex tape that he'd made. I totally forgot that was even a thing. And then obviously when the police came around to interview Ivani, I was like, oh yeah, that happened. And Ross just dismissed it almost as if to say, because then there was that whole thing, wasn't there, about he bought him the new laptop straight away after saying, you're banned from using all that. So I'm sure Ross now is looking at what he's done as feeling like an incredible amount of responsibility for it. But the good thing about this storyline is we're finally getting to see more of Alex Walkinshaw, because I feel like we hadn't really seen much of him. When he was signed, obviously everyone was like, oh, I can't wait. And I'm going to break your heart again. I never watched the bit. Well, I did watch the Bill, but not his era. So I know you're very attached and loved him, so you're probably better placed than me to say kind of his potential, but I saw so much potential in him this week.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, Alex has been, in his own words, pulling faces for a very long time. I joined Inside Soap in 2007, and one of the first things I ever did was go to the set of the Bill, because when I got here, I said, oh, I love the Bill, and they were like, oh, great, you can come along. And so I met him very early on, worked with him for like so many years, because the Bill always did so much with Inside Soap. They were the best partiers at the Inside Soap Awards. And then he left and went into Casualty and Holby City and Waterloo Road. So he's always been in our universe. And then obviously when Holby ended, he wasn't on our screens for a bit. So when he got EastEnders, there was literally a WhatsApp group between us soap journalists that on a Saturday morning, and I'd been to like a boot camp class, which I sometimes show my face out on a Saturday. And I had my WhatsApp had flared up, and it was all like, guess who's going into EastEnders? And we all call him Smithy. He's Smithy from the Bill. The minute we could get an interview with him at Inside Soap, we did, because we go way back. And then he came to the Inside Soap Awards, and bless him, we made sure that it was me that spoke to him, because he's just such a nice guy. He's just so normal and down to earth. And I've watched him over the years, and he's not only a brilliant talent, but a reliable talent. Like, you just know exactly that you're going to get from him every time is going to be 100%. And he told us before he's auditioned for EastEnders. He nearly played a Moon brother.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, which I'm quite intrigued. I can't remember if it was Jake or Danny, but obviously Jake's now swanning off somewhere with Chrissy Watts. But Danny, it ended really bad for. So maybe, gunned down in the woods, facing off with the Mitchells and Johnny Allen. So I think it was fate that Alex had his time on EastEnders now. And I think he's doing a really good job, actually, because it must be so hard, to play the part of a parent who is having to navigate this situation with Joel and kind of not want to face up to it. And not that he wants Joel to get worse and worse, but it must be so hard to, like we saw in Adolescence with Stephen Graham's character, accept that your child has got these views. So, yeah, I've spoken a lot there, but I am a big fan of Alex.
Yeah, it's been really great. And Max Murray as well, who plays Joel, has been fantastic, because what a hard role to take on when, I know he's a bit older than the character, but what a hard role to take on when you're so young. to be spouting all this rubbish and having all this kind of like aggression. But what a great job it's been. I think going forward, it's going to be really interesting because my big question is like, Ross and Vicky, can they survive this? Because if it were me, every time I looked at Ross, I'd be thinking, like, I was battered by your son and you could have maybe prevented that. But also, is it just going to be the fact that when she looks at him, she's reminded of that kind of awful night? And I don't know what can Ross do to make up for that? I don't know whether he can.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. It doesn't seem like there's any way back for them after this. And it's interesting because Vicky Fowler being reinstated on Albert Square is the whole reason for Ross and Joel being there. So if, you know, Ross and Vicky break up, what place do those two characters have on the square? I mean, I don't know whether there's rehabilitation for Joel. I mean, obviously, EastEnders are exploring that. They had their special documentary. It's obviously an ongoing conversation. I'd hope that they're working towards rehabilitation. I mean, if you watched Adolescence, will know that there was really no way back for that character who ended up in Young Offenders Institute in the end. But I wonder whether EastEnders is working towards this.
It's really hard in soap because I think there's some things as viewers that you'll happily forget or look past, or there are some things that can be redeemed. And I always think in soap, depending on who you kill and how you do it, you can be redeemed. But I think there are certain personality types or behaviors that there's just no coming back from. And I always remember when Dean came back into EastEnders and after raping Linda, and everyone was a bit like, oh, are they trying to redeem him? Like, what's going on here? And of course, we know that it didn't go that way. But I think there are some things that some characters do that is a very firm line for viewers. And I think this is a tricky one because there were scenes last week where he was crying for his dad, where I actually did think, God, he is actually just a boy. And although what he's doing and saying and what he did was completely unforgivable and the garbage that he was spouting and consuming is awful, there's an element of like he's kind of been groomed by the internet and being groomed by like influencers. And is there a way back? But I don't know whether viewers will be able to forgive that, whether, like you say, what role might they have in the square, who's gonna give Joel a second chance in the square, what's going to be next for Tommy, because Tommy, I think kind of in the end has done the right thing in kind of dobbing him in. I mean, Tommy was saying some pretty awful stuff as well, but I think we feel that because he's surrounded by this warm family, we see a future for him. I don't know whether that's the same for Joel, but it'll be interesting to see kind of going forward what kind of future this family unit has, really.
Just letting everybody know, we have a bonus podcast episode going out tonight. Our junior writer, Louisa Riley, she recently went to Hollyoaks as an undercover journalist. Now, you may have read about this in the issue of Inside Soap that's already on sale, but I interview Louisa in the bonus podcast episode tonight where she talks all about that. So do listen to it, because as much as we bring you the celebrity interviews on this chat and me, Chloe and Johnny have a good laugh about the storylines, it's really lovely talking to Louisa because she's a genuine soap fan, like everybody listening to this. And she started with us in March. You know, she's our junior writer and she's just having a whale of a time and got to go to Hollyoaks and kind of go undercover and in an operation that I think is really interesting to read about and listen to. So please tune in for that. And I have to say, Chloe told me just to let it go, but basically you'll have noticed my background has changed. Halfway through recording this podcast, the lights went out in the room that I was in and I couldn't turn them back on and I was in the dark.
My take was just style it out. Honesty is the best policy.
I can't get away with the fact that I've now not got a picture of a painted fruit behind me or something, and now it's like a tree. So thank you everyone for staying with us if you've stayed this long, which is really nice. And so that's all from us this week. Thank you very much for tuning in. As always, like, subscribe, comment. It's podcast at insidesoap.co.uk, and we'll be back next week for more Bants and Chats.